Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
It's a pleasure to be here on Political Spotlight. And one of the issues that is making currency in our body politic, socio-economic milieu is members of the Senate calling on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that Nigeria will not, and Nigerians will no longer have patience because of the hunger in the land. And so they were now throwing a word of caution as members of the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that Mr. President has got to do something. May I clearly say that what the members of the Senate seem to be saying, okay, now put it to words, is something different from what the average Nigerian, and even those who are high and those who are lower, have been saying. What makes it, for me, to be a bit ironic is that at what point in time are members of the Senate now realizing that there's so much hunger in the land? I like to put it back to them, to myself, and to fellow Nigerians, that Nigerians are angry. Of course, some complementarity between hunger and anger. When you are hungry, you get into anger. We've gotten into a situation now that there is so much anger and disgust in the land, not just against Mr. President, the state governors, members of the National Assembly. Reason being that telling Mr. President that time is running out. Yes, we know. They are looking at what is happening in our backyard in East Africa, Kenya. Yes, we know. The Ruto effect. Yes, we know. The Liberian effect. Yes, we know. The Mali, Burkina Faso, and the others that say they want to have the Sahel states. Yes, we know. But what is it that they are doing? I agree and I concede the fact that there is hunger. But there is also anger. People are angry at the whole apparatus of governance, starting with the APC that are currently on the throne as we speak, that they have not led by example, that they have not cut their coat according to cloth, that they have continually tried to take care of themselves. President of Senate, of the 9th Senate, my dear brother, Senator Lawan, you were clear in saying that Nigeria cannot wait. I like to say to you, sir, Nigerians have not been able to wait even during your time and even before your time. One of the things we expected to see, and you should be saying clearly that will gladden Nigerians. Yeah, we know we are in this cesspit. What are you prepared to sacrifice? The SUV cars that you are putting across, the car park built at taxpayers' money, is that a priority? Or is it that we can begin to weather down on a course of governance and making sure that we can operate from our different houses for a period of time, and technology can make us come together? I mean, maybe that is too far-fetched. What are you, members of the National Assembly, Senate now, and the House of Representatives, how much of facts even you, if you believe that you are now being skinned to the bone, are you prepared to live out? And make that statement. If Mr. President cannot take the initiative to start this by himself, I personally would be very surprised if Mr. President is not aware that, you know, all the yachts, the presidential jets, nobody says we should not have presidential jets. But in terms of priorities, in terms of taking action and scoring own goals, example, of course, would be the house that was completed during your tenure. I know it started before you, for the vice president, gulping millions of naira. How gladsome would it have been that you say the office of the first lady is unconstitutional, and it is, nobody is asking you to divorce the first lady. She can still compliment you, but not when state resources are now being used for that purpose. Good products, bad process. Those are the things that are angering Nigerians. And you add that on to the hunger that we have in the land. Food inflation hovering over 40%. The long queues that we have exacerbating that aspect. Security is in comatose as we speak. Non-state actors taking charge. In your fear attempt, Mr. President, to try and correct things, the implementation, unfortunately, the implementation is hard. You need to administer real injection to be able to cure a patient. I agree with that. But if that patient is not giving you the cooperation, you might end up going to inject on a vein and causing more wahala. Can we begin to do more engagement by the kind of examples that we live? Nigerians are angry. Members of the Senate, you haven't actually communicated it in a way that Nigerians want to hear, apart from you. The business of the son of Mr. President continually in Aso Rock is angering people and is adding sort to injury. Must that really happen? If that does not happen, does it reduce him or her for being the child of the president? These are some of the things that we need to see. And Mr. President, I'm not talking on behalf of the Senate now. We know you have good intentions and you've taken care of the judges, the judicial arm. Why we still leave the workers still in a bit of a comatose? Yeah, it may be true that we will not be able to afford certain amounts. You say you cannot afford certain amounts, but you are sending 98 million to people who have gone on pilgrimage. Is that an indication of somebody who cannot afford? Or some of your state governors who have left virtually bound their citizens into the guillotine, flew to Saudi Arabia for Hajj. The deputy followed suit. Speaker of the House of Representatives. Is that an indication of people who cannot afford to show empathy? So Nigerians are hungry, you correct, and they are angry at you, at your flowing agenda. Are you capable of not then looking at Nigeria, members of the Senate, irrespective of parties, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of religion, to say Nigeria is not working? It's not only the food that we are talking about. Security is there, education is in comatose. We have SDG goals, 17 of them. Nigeria is indicating red. Mr. President wants to try and do a hope agenda. The harder he tries, we haven't been able to get the results. And trying to count the chicken before they hatch eggs, or vice versa, it's not going to help the issues. I almost feel that the members of the Senate are trying to rub pepper on injury. It's like they're just trying to make jest of the downtrodden. We just have to say something. You are saying something, in my honest opinion, that is not getting to the grassroots. People cannot understand. People cannot understand you. Looks like from day one, own goals that we begin to see. Do budget sometime in September 2023. And what did we see? Some funny items. Even if they say some of those things are already happening, but come out and let Nigerians know. You must get out of the APC, PDP, Labour Party mentality and begin to think of Nigeria and tell Nigerians the truth. And nobody, including the immediate past president, including the president that preceded him, or all the other presidents, must be held in respect, but nobody is above the law. That is what is making Nigerians angry. And when you now then come and say you are going to continue in the footsteps of a president, I'll be the last to say President Muhammadu Buhari has failed totally. Yes, he's done his best, and he was scared to say that, look, he's done his best. And Nigerians have responded to him that your best has not been good for Nigeria. Okay, right. So you've done your best. Are we going from fry pan into fire? The essence of the National Assembly is not allegedly, in the perception of people, to be a rubber stamp. Whatever it is the president brings, rubber stamp it. I mean, Lawan that is speaking now actually was seen as a kind of rubber stamp to whatever it is that Buhari was going to bring. And we cajole Nigeria. And in cajoling Nigeria, we know the situation we are in now. Nigerians are angry. Nigerians are hungry and are angry that a lot of the things we begin to see are things that will continue to decimate us. Nigerians realize that we are not in good position. We have stolen ourselves blind, but we needed to have leaders and not rulers. It is very, very essential that we must take politics out of this picture. It's true we are hungry, and it's true that I know a few things are already happening, The advancement plan, the progressive advancement plan, to declare food security as something that's now become risk factor. I don't want to use words. It's essential. Situations where, in trying to assuage, we create, and we should not necessarily be creating layers. One example, members of the Senate who says Nigeria are hungry, is the fact that Mr. President will wake up and says that he wants another ministry. Okay, no problem. I don't have a problem if you are going to now want to have a ministry, but that ministry should not go against the run of play of the Oransa report of trying to contract. And we cannot be trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. What we need is good policies, good persons that will serve the best interests of Nigeria. Senate, you have another opportunity that we are now going to be getting into a budgetary cycle. Is it going to be shame of shame? Or are we really going to look at some of these things very, very critical? Show example. When we begin to show those examples, there will be less anger in the land. People will want to support by way of security. I hear members of the Senate that part of the reasons why kidnapping is on the increase and bandits increase, they say they too want to have their own share of the national cake that you people have cornered to yourself. Sad as it is, when you do not show good example, this is what we are going to end up with. In summary, yes, Nigerians cannot wait for longer. We should not continue to push beyond the wall. Nigerians have been permanently on the wall. And when they kick back, the 2019-2020 NSAS added to the COVID that came in might be a child's play in situations where we suddenly saw fellow Nigerians rising up and going to sanatoriums to go and take medications that people that are physically challenged with health, mentally, and they believe they can do, and it even took the mattresses. I went to private businesses and started breaking. Nigerians are hungry, but they are also angry. And the steps that we need to take are not being taken. Intellectually, Nigerians are angry because Nigeria is not working. We need permanent restructure to change the narrative to say Nigeria is not negotiable. No, Nigeria is negotiable. We have intermarriage, yes, we have inter. But we must not put personal, religious agenda to continue to divide us. Otherwise, we'll still continue to be where we are at. Nigerians are hungry. Nigerians, not the Southeasterners. Please, I want to be very, very careful and clear. Nigerians are calling for political solution to some of the things that is going on in the Southeast. I have a feeling that despite all his perceived sins, Nnamdi Kanu is going to be treated with the same kind of equity others have been treated. Whether you say it's the same thing or it's not the same thing, I foresee a situation where the National Assembly can put a lot of pressure on the executive and plead. I am also pleading that Nnamdi Kanu be given a political solution to be set free so we can have some restfulness in those areas. That is my message. I agree with you, but words are cheap. You must allow us to hear you and see you, that you can lead the talk and you can walk the talk by your personal example. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless us as we restructure our polity. God bless us as we look at our democracy and not call it them all crazy, and we restructure everything in such a way that governance gets to the grassroots. God bless Nigeria.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.